Am I the a-hole for making my mother-in-law cry? Plus updates. Original post. I, 23 female, have been in a relationship with Andrew, 26 male, for 3 years. We hit it off pretty quickly, and after a year, we moved in together. After a couple months of dating, he introduced me to some of his family members, including his mother, Nora, 60-ish female. She had raised him as a single mother, and she was very close to Andrew. She wasn't very warm towards me, but she wasn't rude either. The longer we were together, the more we would meet her, and she never warmed up to me. After a while, I realized she just didn't like me. And yes, I was disappointed, but I tried not to think about it too much. I had mentioned it to Andrew, and he said that's just how his mom behaved with his past girlfriends and that I shouldn't worry. On July 9th, Andrew and I organized a small get-together with Nora, his Aunt Melinda, Chris and Tiff, his cousins, and my mother Cindy. My fiancé and I wanted to announce my pregnancy as I am 4 months pregnant. When we gathered everyone and told them, they were ecstatic and congratulating us, except Nora. When we went to her, she hugged Andrew, congratulated him, and barely acknowledged me. I just walked away because I knew they would start talking and Nora exclude me from the conversation. And I went towards Andrew's cousins, who I'm close to. We talked about the baby's gender. We wanted it to be a surprise, how I would decorate the baby's room. Normal baby chatter. I was with the cousins, but I was still within earshot of Andrew and Nora, and noticed that she was excitedly talking about how she would take such good care of the baby because she has always been a mom at heart. I'm not going to lie. I probably overthink, but the last comment angered me. She kept talking like I wasn't in the picture. By the end of the get-together, I was mad, and waited until she left to go to talk to Andrew. I told him I thought her comments are weird, and that considering she's never liked me, it just feels like she thinks she's going to replace me. Andrew just said that she wants to be hands-on grandmother as it's her first grandbaby, and that is not that deep. Yesterday, July 15th, Tiff sent me a message asking me if I knew that Nora was telling her church people that she was being blessed and she would welcome a baby in her life because God could see how much love she had to give back, and that she would name it after her grandmother, and just a bunch of nonsense. I told Andrew what I knew, and he finally acknowledged how weird and creepy her lies were, and he called her to set things straight. He told me she started crying, and that I felt bad, but I feel like she's just plain crazy and is trying to guilt trip him. I sent her a message that as long as she can't accept that I am the child's mother and to respect me, she won't be the child's life. Melinda said I went way too far and that I have no business attacking her faith, which I don't believe I ever did. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. You didn't make anyone cry. Your boyfriend told it like it is, and she got upset. That's her problem. Good news? He's on your side and up to dealing with his mother. That's as it should be. Melinda and anyone else can step off. I was so worried he would downplay it again when I told him, but he just couldn't believe it, and immediately confronted his mother about her poor behavior. So I'm glad. Not today, Hall. I'd never leave her alone with your baby because she might take it and disappear. I don't think I'd ever feel comfortable leaving my child with this woman, but I'm very worried that unless we cut contact with her, she could do something very dangerous, like claiming she's supposed to pick up my child from school. In a situation like that, just make sure the school knows she is not authorized to pick up your child. Same for daycare/childcare. I'm trying to figure out when you attacked her faith. Not stay home. Telling her to back off and setting boundaries is not attacking someone's faith. The lady's crazy. The faith bit really confused me. Just because she said those insane lies in church doesn't mean I should respect it. Thanks. Edit. Thank you for all your replies. I read it all and really appreciate you guys taking the time to answer. I talked to Andrew about couples counseling and he doesn't seem enchanted, but he said if it makes me feel more secure, he'll do it. Nora's been flooding his phone all day saying everything is a misunderstanding, and that I'm twisting everything out of proportion because I'm a crazy hormonal pregnant lady. I will update if anything happens with her. And now for the update. Basically, after a scene on the phone with my fiancé, she spammed his phone with texts saying I'm crazy hormonal pregnant lady, and then she went very quiet. He didn't block her, she just stopped texting. This morning she showed up. Fiancé was at work and she knew that, claiming she deserved an explanation for how she was being treated. That she only had a baby's best interests at heart, and that trying to stop that would be going against my child and being a bad parent. I told her that I was done taking her attitude, and that she isn't the victim, and that she was delusional for thinking she could treat me poorly and still be around my baby. Thank you to the users commenting that. You all really helped me see the situation clearly. Calling her delusional really upset her, and I knew she would just start her victim rant, so I showed her out. I had let her as she doesn't have a key and never will. I called my fiancé before she would have a chance to do so and changed the entire narrative to make me the bad guy. I told him he either gets his mother in check or I will be going away until the baby is born because I am not dealing with the stress of having a crazy woman around. He said he understood and he went home early. Fiancé and his cousins are on my side, but of course his aunt and mother-in-law are the same. I blocked them both. Aunt kept sending messages telling me I need to apologize. Like someone recommended, we're going to put them on an info diet. Unless they apologize sincerely and there's a change in their behavior, which I highly doubt, they will not have access to my child and I will only let them know the bare minimum. I'm honestly not delusional enough to believe that this is the last of it, but I feel like I can take a break from them for the next few months. I'll update. Edit. Thank you everyone for the amazing amount of support. It's very heartwarming to read. There is some confusion regarding some stuff, so let me try to clear it up. I'm not married to dear husband. He's my fiancé. We always pushed the dates because of COVID and how hard it was to travel since my family isn't from the US. And surprise, surprise, just no mother-in-law had a problem with all our ideas. The person who let me know what she was saying in church is fiancé's cousin, who is also just no auntie-in-law's daughter. She's on my side because she knows me well, and she immediately realized the mother-in-law's conversation with the church was extremely off. After I kicked mother-in-law out, I talked with dear husband for a while, explained to him everything in great detail regarding his mother's behavior, and he is very shocked and apologetic to have brushed it off in the past. So that's a huge relief. She asked mother-in-law to apologize, so she went completely silent and hasn't texted again. I'm thinking that the cousin might have talked to her mother, just no aunt-in-law, because she hasn't texted the fiancé either. So maybe hopefully she understands the issue. Well, that's weird. Why does she think she gets to decide what is in the best interest of the baby? Why is she telling people you attacked her faith? This is definitely the type of person you should back away from. None of this makes sense. People don't just wake up one morning and start acting like this. There is probably more to her behavior that your fiancé believed was normal in the past. No clue. Most of our interaction was cold, so the sudden interest in my child really rubs me the wrong way. This is not uncommon with the mother-in-laws we hear about on this sub. They tend to completely ignore things they don't want to acknowledge, such as the existence of their daughter-in-laws. If you look at the sticky comments on your post, you will see a link to the book list for this sub, and there's also a list of common abbreviations used here. Take a look at the books. Some of them will probably help you identify the patterns in mother-in-law's behavior. It can really help the situation if your significant other sees that a neutral expert identifies these behaviors as crossing normal boundaries. She is delusional. She immediately decided that she is raising your baby and you are not in the picture. She told her church family that God is giving her a baby. I assume through immaculate reception. She is demanding you apologize for existing? Yikes. I am so sorry. I would move in with family for the pregnancy or at least a few months. Significant other needs to agree to counseling because he doesn't think a mother that hates all his significant others and states she is going to raise your child, did she even mention him in this, is a problem, and you should just live your entire life fighting off his mom. He needs to understand that a dad and grandmother are optional equipment for little one while their actual mom isn't. If just no mother-in-law or his family sends flying monkeys, you can tell them something like, she told her family in church that God was providing a child for her to raise by herself. She was explicit that I would not be around my own child. I am not going to be close to someone who would prefer I don't exist. I would change your passwords everywhere. Tell the nurses your just no mother-in-law is a danger, and they need to watch out for her, and register as a private patient when you deliver. If you were my relative, I would be digging a moat for you, but check your zoning laws. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my husband's mom nap in my room? My husband's mom moved in with us a week ago. The minute we were informed she was going to move in, temporarily till her house gets renovated, we've emptied a room specifically for her. It has everything: a bed with a frame, curtains, mounted TV, wardrobe, etc. She was thrilled with it and loved it a lot. Then one day I came home and found her in my bedroom sleeping and mine in my husband's bed. I was confused, but she told me she took a nap on the bed and lost track of time. Since then, she started talking about how she loved the nap there and started hinting wanting to take naps in the bedroom from now on. I kept ignoring her comments, till my husband sat me down and told me that his mom really liked and got used to napping in our bedroom, and we should just let her have her daily afternoon nap in the room. I said absolutely not, and we started debating. I told him his mom is being ridiculous because she has a whole room upstairs where she should nap. He got upset and said that I was making his mom feel uncomfortable and unwelcome with this attitude. I said no and refused to negotiate. He called me selfish and mean for saying no and preventing his mom from feeling comfortable at his house. But I reminded him that I pay full mortgage for the house, while he blows money over gadgets and consoles. He accused me of bringing old disagreements in this current conflict to use against him. I said no again, and that he should stop pushing because I need a room for when I get home feeling exhausted from working on my feet from 6 a.m. He's refusing to speak to me till I agree and let his mom have her nap in there. Am I the a-hole for choosing this hill to die on as he says? Am I being difficult? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Why is she so obsessed with sleeping where you and her son copulate? This is the comment I was looking for. It's disgusting that she wants to lay in the bed where her son does it. Like I would have said that right away when they asked why she couldn't sleep in there. Because that's our space. That's where we do our thing. Crude as she may find it worded that way, it's still the truth. That is what I was coming here to say. Why in the world would she want to sleep in that bed, and why does husband not see how odd that is? Maybe Opie should just get crass with it and ask this exact question. Most valid one. Not stay home. Your problem is not with a mother-in-law. I think you already know that it's with your husband. He needs to support you in your dealings with his family, but instead of doing that, he is making the situation worse. You're already hosting his mother. She's lucky enough to have her own room when most people don't even have spare rooms. If there is a problem with her room, your husband needs to fix it so she is comfortable. But she cannot take over your room. Your room is private and off limits. Sometimes people show us who they are. Your husband is not only behaving destructively by refusing to support you and creating unnecessary drama, he's not speaking to you like he's in high school. He's being very immature. I don't likely recommend counseling because it's expensive and hard to find a good counselor, but he won't listen to you. So I think you need it at this point. Maybe a third party can get through to him. What he is doing is damaging your relationship. What I love most was these statements. Opie's husband, this is my house, what I say goes. Opie, I'm the one who pays the full mortgage while you blow your money. Opie's husband, stop bringing this up. Like he's the one who brought it up by claiming it's his house. Opie, tell your husband and his mother that if they can't respect your boundaries, then they both sleep in the spare room together, or they both can leave and go shack in a hotel until her house is fixed. This is creepy behavior from the mother, and your husband is showing you that he'll have his mother's side over you anytime there is argument. Do you have some sort of fancy bed or just a plain old mattress? If you have one of those memory foam or similar, I kind of understand why she would want to stay in there as her room's mattress is just a plain normal one. Still creepy though. Wonder if she sniffs the sheets to smell her son. Gross. Not stay hole at all and do what everyone's saying by asking her why she wants to sleep where you and her son. Emphasize this part. Do it with his wife. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for smiling while my mother-in-law scolded my husband for poking my belly and saying it was like dough? I gave birth to our first child 3 weeks ago and my body hasn't snapped back yet. I definitely feel insecure about it, to the point where I won't even change in front of my husband anymore. Yesterday, I was laying down on him, and my top rode up so you could see my belly slightly. He stroked it and then poked it, and made a comment about how my belly was like dough. I know my reaction was irrational, but I burst into tears. My in-laws were there and my mother-in-law was furious with my husband, and she started scolding him for not being careful with his words. My husband tried to defend himself, but my mother-in-law kept telling him off. I started smiling and my husband got upset with me for being happy he was getting into trouble. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. First of all, your reaction was not irrational at all. What your husband said was mean under any circumstances, but particularly given that you just gave birth. Second of all, you were not smiling because he was getting in trouble. You were smiling because someone was being kind to you and standing up for you. The fact that your husband's takeaway from this situation is being upset that he got in trouble rather than being apologetic for his comment suggests that he is immature and not a very good partner. I'm glad that your mother-in-law had your back. Also, Opie, you gave birth to a human. 3 weeks is nothing. And honestly, if your body's never exactly the same again, that's okay. You did something amazing. Take it easy on yourself. P.S. I've had 3 kids and been married 12 plus years, and my husband has never made a negative comment about my body. Your husband deserved more than a scolding. Exactly. I would have poked him back and said, I just had a baby. What's your excuse? It's nice to hear when mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws get along very well, especially on this forum since it's quite the opposite. But am I the only one who would feel weirded out doing PDA stuff in front of the parents? It wasn't really PDA. I was trying to have a nap and that's the only way I can fall asleep. Not stay home. Mother-in-law loves you and doesn't like seeing you hurt. Your husband crossed the line even if it was a joke. This isn't a joke. It's, oh, they're upset. So I better label it as a joke so I can tell them to lighten up or stop being hysterical. I feel like it was more intended as a joke, but didn't go as planned. It's more of him just not thinking before he speaks. My dad does this kind of nonsense to my mom. He always tries to play it off as a joke or something he didn't quite think about. But it's pretty obvious after a while that they're not actually jokes. They're intentional slights. Seems like maybe the mother-in-law thinks he might be that kind of person.